Yo, what is up, NPL fans? Shoutout, your coach of Bayern Munich, and welcome to the NPL Season 7 Draft Analysis. I'm incredibly excited. We are back in the NPL this time. We actually have our own fucking team. Isn't that just lovely? Yeah, if you don't know how this all happened, if you're new or if you weren't around for a while, Joey Pokeyam was supposed to be in the NPL, and then he didn't have time, so he left, and I was chosen to take over his team. It was a pretty bad draft, no disrespect to Joey, but drafting really isn't his strong suit. So, and I with a pretty shit team, and I with a 6-6 record, which I was fairly proud of because at least like 2 of those games, maybe even more, I lost due to hacks. So I could have definitely had a really good record with a mediocre team that took over, made some really good trades and transfers, and then almost made playoffs. I was really close, and unfortunately just missed out due to some bad luck and stuff. But these things happen, and it is the NPL, is the most competitive league out there, so this is my time to fucking prove myself and see what I can do. Obviously aiming for playoffs. That's like, why would I be here if I'm not aiming for playoffs? Everything else would be stupid. So yeah, the NPL for the season changed to a price draft system, and everything else that will probably be explained somewhere on a spreadsheet or whatever. I'll put all the relevant NPL links in the description down below. So make sure to check out. There's also the link to the PPL fan shop, because you can buy Bayern Munich merch there, and you should do that so I can love you even more than I already do, and that'd be great. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, 16 coaches in the NPL. New coaches include Divert, Cheeseboy628, who's a returning coach, Monotui, who you all should know from the PPL, and Rob Jr. The 3 that aren't Cheese got promoted from the minors, and Cheese just came back. So yeah, that's pretty much that. I think that's all I have to say. We get 1 Z-Move user, budget of 120, up to 11 picks. I wanted 12, but alas, wasn't allowed. So I also should mention I got sniped to shit and back, but let's just start. So my first overall pick, this is already exciting. So the picks were randomized between first people that didn't make playoffs, then the people who made playoffs, and then the new people. And well, we got randomized to when we pick what draft order, what draft spot we want. I was lucky enough to be the second person to be able to pick, and I obviously picked second overall because that only makes sense. Worth mentioning is that Mega Kangaskhan was not banned, however Seismitoad on it was banned, and Mega Morwell was also unbanned, so that is really exciting. So the second overall pick, I was guaranteed to get one of those broken things. However, I don't like Mega Wall. I fucking hate it. It's a slow wall breaker. I can't deal with those. Which is funny because later on you'll see I got one of those more or less forced. But so first overall pick was exciting for me because I found out whether I get Mega Kang or whether I'll have to settle for something Mega Lopunny, which obviously I'm very comfortable with, and I can do a lot with Mega Lopunny. We all know this by now. Turns out Razor decided to pick Mega Latios. So my first overall pick for first pick, second overall pick was Mega Kangaskhan. Hell to the fucking yeah. So if you don't know, Mega Kangaskhan got nerfed this gen. It's not 1.5 damage, I think is what it used to be. It's now it has damage quartered, so it's a lot weaker. Like 1.2 damage, I think, if I can math 1.25, if I can math correctly. So it's still really strong. It still gets like the double power up punch boost. It's still really fat with 105 and 100 bulk, 125 attack, 100 speed. It's a really strong Pokemon, and really fat, as I said. Not much to say really. So Mega Kang is going to be like the main point of this draft. I don't have to say much. It's a fantastic fat Pokemon, fat subspeed, fat thing that can do so much damage. They can just sit there, not care about the walls that are trying to not take damage from it, essentially, and just stall them out or beat them 1v1 in other ways like Power Punch and Wish, that kind of thing. I have never used Mega Kang anything, not when it was in OU, not in Ubers, nothing. I have no experience with this, so I'm gonna try to get some help from my good pal Magic, or David, from the minors who had it last season. Minors actually banned it, may just decide not to, which is kind of interesting. That's because he used it so well, and it didn't do that well in majors. So yeah. Oh, also should mention the graphics that will hopefully be on screen if I'm not super lazy, which I don't think I will be, because otherwise you can already see my full draft. One might buy Freeze. He's also in the minors. I'll put his links down below. He's a cool guy, and these graphics are pretty beautiful. They are from the NPL draft stream. So, yeah, Mega Kang first pick. I'm obviously really happy with it. It's gonna put in work, hopefully, and yeah, I don't think it's gonna necessarily carry the team. I don't think it's that good to the point where it just carries the team on its own, but it's gonna be a huge part of this team in breaking things down, taking hits as well, because as I said, it's ridiculously bulky, as well as just forcing a ton of prep of my opponent, because it's a fucking Mega Kangaskhan. Obviously Rocky Helmet ruins this Pokemon, I know that, and we're gonna have to try to work around that with different sets, but we'll see how that goes. So yeah, that's the first pick, and now it gets a little sad, because between my first pick and my second pick, I got sniped 4 or 5 times, something like that. Yeah, so initially I wanted Weavile plus Salmons. That was going to be my core. Not my core, but like my first 3 picks, Mega Kang, Weavile, Salmons, which just sounds ridiculous. Unfortunately, those went back to back. Trev picked Weavile and Ape picked Salmons, and I'm really upset. Also, Zemo Salmons is of course pretty busted. I used Ments in the GPC before it had Zemos and already loved it, so yeah, didn't get those. So I had to settle for something else. Celesteela almost made it back to me, which would have been really exciting. Same with Garchomp, but they just didn't. So I opted to go for, you know, the next best thing. For round 2, I picked Titania. That is the Skarmory. We had it for last season. Also, I think I mentioned Mega Kang is Emerin, based on the mother figure, which is the sister, in Fire Emblem Awakening. The sister of Chrome, and the, you know, one of the main characters. She dies, and it's sad. Spoilers, and yeah, she's cool and shit. She's too close to a mother figure I could think of that's actually relevant to anything I care about. So, except for Jolt, but nah. So yeah, Skarmory. Skarmory is just a steel type I had last season. I got it in a trade for Fortress. Don't ask, it just happened. And it's just a reliable steel type. It gives me a Spike Stack, which with Mega Kang is super nice. It gives me a Stealth Rocket that's super reliable. It gives me a Defog, which is super reliable. And just a reliable, I like saying this with Skarm because it's what it is. Answer to a lot of Pokemon. It just deals with shit, and I like that. Once again, not the most exciting Pokemon. Skarm is probably the most boring thing I'll ever draft. It's just there. Maybe I'll bring like a double dance set or some shit one week. Who knows? But yeah, Skarm is just there to do its thing, basically. But yeah, that also starts, it gives me a steel type, which there aren't many steel types I like, so getting Skarm is pretty neat. The only issue is it's a steel type that doesn't resist rock, which is definitely something I'm going to have to look out for later on. So, and on the like half wheel, and this was the one I was guaranteed to get because Razor picked Megaladios, he wasn't going to pick Latias, which is the third pick. Cordelia coming back from the SCL days as well as PPL Season 4, where I used it. And I didn't like it when I picked it back then, you guys may remember, but I fell in love with it over the course of the season. And I got a huge need to use it again, and I just saw it there and I was like, you know what? It does everything I want. It's a really good dragon, it's a fantastic Self Sweeper, it's another offensive threat that's also really bulky, which pairs well with Mega Kang. It gives me another Defogger, which is super nice, and it's a Latias. It gives me Healing Witch, which is super good for my Mega Kang. It's just a massive threat that people are going to have to prepare for a lot, and if they don't, they're going to be punished, because by now I know how to use a Latias. It gets one of my favorite moves in Reflect Tab, which I will probably use more than once this season. Spoilers. And yeah, I love Latias. Now, I used to not love it, but now I do. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. This gives me the start of my Fairy Dang Steel Core. Now I just need the Fairy part, which is probably the most important part if we're being real. At least in my opinion, this. But yeah, now I have 2 Defogers that are off the ground, so I don't have to worry about anything. These are pretty much all the Hazard removal that I will need. I don't have to worry about it at all. I know these 2 don't want to be Hazard removal every week, but you know me, I don't bring it every week anyway. So yeah, I think I'm fine with these 2, and it's a nice core. This is obviously not nearly as cool as Weavile and Salamence with Mega Kang, but it's still nice. Latias also, of course, gives me a fighting resist, which helps with my Mega Kang, or for my Mega Kang, whatever. And yeah, so let's just move on. I also was considering Thunder T here, but I felt like getting a Latias is just better, because Latias just filled so many roles that I don't want to fuck with later on. I don't want to have to worry about getting a defogger or another one. Don't have to worry about getting a dragon that's like semi-decent and all that shit. So I just went with Latias. Funny T is amazing, but you know, we gotta deal with it, I guess. I don't know. So next up, I don't want to lose to Zygarde, so I had to pick a good grass type, and of course, the only one that really is an option there is Evergreen the Shaman, the best grass type in the format. Don't at me, it just is. Don't talk about Mega Venus or whatever the fuck else you have. It's Shaman. And yeah. Evergreen, once again, another returning member. You know, you can see a theme here. A lot of things I've used before because, you know, gotta use things I'm comfortable with. Because what else would I do? Let's close this window. Yeah, Shaman is amazing. It's a fantastic defensive monster, fantastic offensive monster. I use it in PPL Season 2. I use it in March Madness. I used it in several other leagues that I was in. It's one of my favorite Pokemon draft format. It is so fucking good. And once again, I use this word a lot. Reliable. If you give it a job, it's probably going to do it, unless you get crit like Gypsy last season, which was very unfortunate and it was sad. But yeah, Gypsy had incredible success with the thing as well. He used it mainly in a really fat leeching role, which I love as well. I think my focus went from, when I initially used it, from Life Orb offensive every week to you know, more bulky sets. But I can do both, and I will do both. It also gives me a second healing issue, which is super cool. It gives me, you know, as a the Zygarde counter numero uno, I think I would say it is. Gives me aromatherapy, gives me a cleric, which is super cool, and just another pretty decent wall breaker, honestly. Like Life Orb Seed Flare with a, I think it's 50% chance to drop or some shit. 60? No, it's not 50. It's like 30. Is it? Come on, load. Pretty sure it's 30. Which just means if you want to switch into this and you get a split drop, you're probably fucked, honestly. And the things that do switch into this often can't really damage it, because with Natural Cure, I don't have to worry about Toxic, which is super cool. A lot of shitting itself. That's, you know, the usual. But yeah, I'm just gonna carry on with my life. Shaman is amazing. I love it. And it's my baby. It's one of my favorite mons, and it's gonna be great. So I already have 2 months I love using. I've used a lot, which fits well with the Kang that I haven't used. You know, gotta mix things up a little bit. Speaking of things I haven't used, it's actually 40% on Seed Flare. It finally popped out. Jesus Christ, I love that shit. So yeah, speaking of things I've never used, I was talked into this pick. I need an offensive threat, and there aren't many good things left that are like semi-affordable in round. What is this? 5? 5. So I decided I'd pick one of the scariest mons I've ever had to play. Every time I play this mon, I absolutely fucking shit myself because it's so good, so threatening, and literally can win games in just one turn. If you fuck up one turn, boom, over. And that Pokemon is none other than Volcarona. This is also, as you will see later on, gonna be my Z-move user, which I think, yeah, I'll put that in at the end. But it's gonna be my Z-move user, which I think was fairly obvious because Z Volcarona after Equivalence is almost guaranteed to get a kill depending on what Z move I choose. And I have options. I can run Z Fire Blast, I can run Z Bug Buzz, I can run Z Hurricane, Psychic, Hyper fucking Beam if I really want to. This is Giga Drain because I can do that too. And like all kinds of other moves it gets. It's just a cool mon. I can also run like a U-turn set if I really want to be like wild, but unlikely. But yeah, Volcarona is arguably like one of the, not arguably, it is one of the scariest sweepers in the game, not just the format, in the game in general. It does have the quad weakness to rock, which is really annoying because I'm gonna have to bring Defog if I bring Volcarona. But that's fine. I think with Latias and Skarm, I'm set with Defog. But yeah, Volcarona is gonna be a super duper fun mon, and I'm hoping that it'll like win me a couple games, because that's kind of what it tends to do. Like you just quiver up and then you win. Also like Quiver Dance Roost sets, if there's a matchup where I can bring that. This is basically like a Zardex in that sense, just like it dies to every physical rock move ever. But other than that, it's basically a Zardex, right? Kind of. But yeah, special attackers I can set up on. Pretty much all special attackers in the game I can just quiver up on, unless they get rock moves, like random Slowking with Power Gem or Starmie with Power Gem, that kind of thing. Even though they both have water step on Slowking, and probably still Calm Mind up, Equivalence up. So yeah, Volcarona is great, and I love it. I think I hope I love it. I've never used it before in draft, so this is gonna be interesting. It's also gonna call it Furtado, because like Nelly Furtado sings "I'm like a bird," and it gets Hurricane, so it's kind of like a bird. Also gets Fly. Also, David talked me into getting it, I think, and he's Portuguese, so Nelly Furtado is. I don't know. It's just a name. It sounds cool, okay? So this is where drafting got a little difficult. I need to fill a ton of holes. I need a bulky water, I need a ground type, I need a rock resist, a good one. I needed more stealth rockers, I needed more speed, I needed more offense, I needed a fairy, I needed toxic spikes, because those are amazing for support for Mega Kang. I needed so much stuff still, and I didn't have any of it. So I was semi-forced some of these picks to fill holes. And the first one, who would have fucking thought? I picked Seismitoad. Bennington for the 5 millionth time, 5th millionth time, whatever, is back, and it's there and it does its thing. So if you've been here for a while, you know that Seismitoad is one of my favorite Pokemon draft format because it just does its job. I usually prefer it as a secondary water. This time it's my primary water type, which is a bit of an issue. But I do have Latias, which is going to help me check fire types. Other than that, I do look kind of weak to them, but I do have one of the scariest ones myself, so, you know, that's a plus, I guess. But yeah. Seismitoad gives me Stealth Rock, it gives me Electric Immunity, it gives me that bulky water, which is kind of why I wanted it, because it gives me water type and ground type and Stealth Rock. And also Rock Resist, obviously, being a ground type. So yeah, all those holes that I had, Seismitoad just fills a lot of them on its own, and that is super duper nice. It can also be a fantastic rain sweeper. If you can see, I have Seismitoad for rain, I have Shaman, which appreciates it, Latias gets Thunder, I guess so is Mega Kang technically, and Volcarona gets Hurricane, so you know, somehow I just build a rain team, and honestly there's gonna be more if you haven't seen the draft stream yet. But yeah, Seismitoad is just really good. Also builds actually a fantastic core with Skarmory, which is really cool. Being immune to one of its weaknesses, while Skarmory just takes 0 from any grass move. And also resisting the other weakness, so that's cool. Not that Latias can also do that, but yeah, the thing has also its weakness covered by Skarm. And just in general, my out of my first 6 picks, 4 resist grass, and they're all really good at resisting grass, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, this episode is just really nice, and I'm looking forward to using it again because I always do. So, and this is where we get into a little bit of interesting territory. These are a ton of new Pokemon coming up. I need to look at my budget as well, obviously. As I said, this is a budget draft, so I can't just draft whatever the fuck I want, which I would have been preferred, honestly. But I need a fairy still. And the most appropriate fairy for this team, I thought, was one that can actually be more offensive, one that can be a pivot, that can gain me momentum. And the only one that really does that well, that is affordable at this point, was Comfy. Yes. Everyone's favorite inanimate object, even though I guess it is very much not inanimate. Is on a team. This is going to be called Kalia, or Kalia? I think Kalia, which is a Hawaiian name that means something that I forgot, but it was very fitting. I think like happiness or something. I'm gonna Google that while I keep talking about Comfy. Comfy does have the triage ability, which gives it priority on moves like Synthesis, and most importantly, Draining Kiss. Now, Draining Kiss is really weak, Comfy is really weak, having only 82 special attack. But, okay, it means luck, apparently. Huh. Whatever. Sounds cool. But yeah, I want Sneasel, by the way. I should completely mention that I really wanted Sneasel on this team. I was gonna get it like somewhere around one of these 2 picks, but alas, it was taken by Ape, and I hate Ape. Except something else of me. Oh, a Nidoqueen. I want Nidoqueen too. I was also taken. I'm really upset still. But yeah, Comfy is fairy that can gain momentum with you, and it can give you a really devastating Calm Mind sweeper with Draining Kiss, because if I'm just faster than you and recover way too much health with Draining Kiss, then you're gonna be sad. Yeah, it also gives me another Cleric, which is super duper nice. It gives me potential. There's not much else it does really. gives me this, another base 100 speed here, which now I have 4 base 100s, which is very interesting. It gives me a taunt user, and it's just like a cool pivot that can be a really scary setup suite that people will have to prep for. If you don't prep properly for Calm Mind Comfy, you're probably gonna be fucked, honestly. And then with my hazard support from Skarmory and something else that we'll be getting later on, Comfy is even more dangerous. That plus Mega King and Jesus Christ, Volcarona, really appreciate those hazards. So that's cool. Yeah, moving on. So I still need a Dark type. I still need another Rock Resist because I don't want to have only one in Seismitoad, because that's very easily exploitable if people choose to do so. And what is his nickname? I have no idea. Oh, I remember now. Okay, never mind. And I want another break. I want something that can just hit things and kill them and obliterate them and have them never come back to life ever again. And what better mon to fit that role than Pangoro? Sydney the Pangoro. This is I think designer's real name is Sydney, and he obviously made the song Panda. So also Sydney sounds like an interesting name. So Pangoro is really cool in that she got slightly buffed this gen. Not only is it now immune to Brainstem moves, being a Dark type, it also gets Bullet Punch, which is super duper nice because it actually gets a priority. Pangoro is one of those Pokemon I mentioned I was kind of forced into. Otherwise, I would have only had Seismitoad as my Rock Resist if I went with a different fighting type. Plus, it gives me Parting Shot, which is a really, really cool move, and a phenomenal breaker. There is no Pokemon in the game that is that doesn't get hit super effectively by Pangoro, depending on what ability I run. If I run Scrappy, I hit something like Mega Sableye and Spiritomb super effectively with Fighting Stab. If I run Mold Breaker, I hit things like Electros with Earthquake, and everything else I have coverage for, essentially. So, yeah, I think it's ridiculous coverage, but even just its dual stab, Dark, and Fighting is really, really good. A Life Orb set is going to rip things apart. I can run SD against really fat teams and just fucking tear them a new one. I can even run Scarf in a lot of matchups and still be just about fast enough, I think. It's pretty slow. But maybe that will work in some matchups. And then just surprise kill and maybe clean up late game, game momentum, Parting Shot, that kind of thing. I can also run like a bulkier AV set. I can maybe run Trick Room on something. I don't think that's working. I think Gladius is the only thing I have that gets Trick Room, so don't think it's working. But yeah, Bullet Punch does give it some nice priority, which is super cool, and people won't have switch-ins to it because there are none. I don't think there's a good Pangoro switch-in in the game, so that's exciting. Yeah, I can run Life Orb, I can run Choice Band even, which just obliterates things. It gives me that really nice knockoff spammer that helps Mega Kang breaking down shit because it gets rid of Rocky Helmets. And if I just ring Ban and Pangoro, you probably won't have a good switch into a Ban knockoff, and eventually the thing that has a Rocky Helmet might just lose it, and I'm gonna be happy. Or it's gonna take it, or other things are gonna drop or take way too much damage, and that's also fine. So yeah, Pangoro is gonna be interesting. I've never used it. Looking forward to it. A lot of people have said good things about it, mainly Eric Ashnakai. He loves the thing, so we'll see what it do. And then I still need some speed. I need my electric type, and you know what also would be cool? Normal spam. So there's another returning member. It's been a while though since I used the thing. There's Solaire the Heliolisk. I love your thing. Heliolisk is one of my favorite electric types. Not only design wise but also just in general. Having a secondary stamp for electric types is so nice. Plus it has all the coverage it wants. It gets Surf, it gets Grass Hunt, it gets Dark Pulse, it gets Focus Blast. It even gets like Low Kick for no reason, Signal Beam. Probably something else that's stupid and has no reason to be in its moveset. So it also gets Glare to paralyze things, which is cool. It gets Unstep Dragon coverage and Dragon Pulse. What else could you possibly want? Yeah, Heliolisk is just a super cool guy. You can probably Volt Switch relatively freely with it most games because ground types do not want to switch into Heliolisk. None of them do. And that's cool. It also, as I said, gives me really nice normal spam with Mega Kang. I can have the special like Specs or Life Orb Heliolisk with spamming Hyper Voice, and then I have Mega Kang spamming its returns, double edges, and whatever else, and that's super cool. That's gonna make people scared because Heliolisk also hits normal resist really hard with whether it be its stab, whether it be Dark Pulse, or it be Focus Blast, those kind of things. Also gets Fire Punch for no reason. It's stupid. But yeah, Heliolisk also gives me another thing that can actually abuse rain with Dry Skin. It can also be a Sun Abuser, which I can use to get with Volcarona potentially. So I have weather options on my team, which is super duper wild. And if I use Heliolisk and Sun, then oh boy, things are gonna drop. Because I get, you know, an instant choice specs essentially, which is super cool. But yeah, Heliolisk is a super cool mon. I haven't used it in a while. I had it in PPL Season 1, yeah, for a little bit, and I had it in March Madness, but other than that, never had it. And I think it's a fantastic mon. I think people underrate it a little bit, and it's great. So yeah. And now I only have 2 picks left. This was my 9th pick. Now I have 10, 11 left. Not many points. I think 12 points, which I guess is a decent amount. But I still need to take these bikes. I still need something above 110 because right now my fastest Pokemon is Latias. I really don't want it to be the case. I'm also lacking some priority still, so that's something else I want to look into. And the first mon that I got in round 10 is Weezing. It's going to be Shimada the Weezing. Also, I didn't explain the Heliolisk name because most of you probably might not know. Just named after the guy from Dark Souls, Praise the Sun guy. Yeah, he's cool. Yeah, Shimada the Weezing because the Shimada brothers because the thing has 2 heads, so the Shimada brothers, and they're pretty cancerous in Overwatch. Hanzo and Genji. It's funny. Yeah, Weezing gives me not a really good fighting resist. It gives me Mono is like honestly kind of overlooked, I feel. People are like, oh yeah, Weezing is alright, but then they don't draft it and it doesn't do as much as I feel like it could. Because it does have some really good potential, I feel. It gives me that Toxic Spike I really wanted for my Mega Kang, which is super nice. This team with Toxic Spikes is devastating. Obviously, I only have defog of my own, but I can get up T-Spikes, let my opponent get poisoned, and defog later on, and then get Volcarona in. That's something I'm completely capable of with the team build. So that's super cool. It gives me something that gets Haze, it gives me something that gets Memento, which is super cool for Volcarona as well. And you know, Will-O-Wisp Spammer is cool. It has some really cool offensive moves like Flamethrower, Fire Blast, Thunder, Bolt, not Thunder. I guess Thunder could be on the potential Pseudo Rain team. It gives me Explosion User, which is always nice. Explosion is a very important move. It doesn't get recovery outside of Pain Split, but you know, of course, Rest. But that's fine. I do have Wish Pass in the form of Mega Kang and potentially even Latias, so that's cool. And yeah, Weezing is just a cool guy, honestly. So Shimada is gonna do his thing, I think, maybe. And now we get to the... No, I didn't have 12. I had 9 points. What the fuck am I on about? I think. I don't know. Let's get to the last pick. So I still need speed. I need priority. And I opted to go with the only really good thing left that's fast and has priority. And that is Floatzel, the TBU champion. Shout out to my boy Paulie Mac. It's gonna be called Marcus because I have a good friend whose favorite Pokemon is Floatzel. So, well, I think it's Buizel, but you know, same thing. Floatzel gives me a nice 115 speed tier, gives me a secondary water type, to sim of course, an offensive one. It gives me just a nice cleaner, it gives me really cool priority. Aqua Jet is a super good priority move to have. I wanted Ice Shot initially because like things like Salamence and Lando T, Dragonite, those kind of things are really scary, but I think, you know, with Comfy and then Mega Kang Fake Out and that kind of shit, and Skarmory being a Pokemon, it might just be fine, as well as Weezing. Seismitoad can take a hit from anything basically, so I might be fine. But yeah, Floatzel is a really cool offensive threat. It can be physical, it can be special. It can be a bulk up sweeper, it can be a Baton Pass user with agility as well as bulk up, which is super cool. You get Switcheroo too, that's another thing I can do, and of course it does get Water Veil, which means I cannot get burned, which is amazing. So I can, you know, I can potentially bulk up on a bulky water and then hit it with, like, it doesn't get anything to hit bulky waters, but maybe I can like be a leftover set and bulky one, run bulk up and like beat shit 1v1. I don't know. I have options, and I don't have to worry about getting burned, which is super cool. Yeah, I think this team has enough to deal with bulky waters between Latias, Shaman, Seismitoad, Heliolisk, and even like Volcarona doesn't care about most of them. My team like deters Scald spam so much. I love it. Like having 2 immunities and Shaman, which is basically immunity, Latias, which doesn't care much, and the thing which can't get burned. So it's super cool. Yeah, Floatzel is just a nice Pokemon. It's definitely gonna be a bit of a niche one, but it's gonna have its matchups, and if it does, or when it does, it's gonna put it in work, I think. You know, I'm the PU guy, and I'm looking forward to using Floatzel and showing the remaining few people that don't know how amazing it is. how amazing it is. So, as I said, you're gonna see the slide of the last slide, which is Zemo Volcarona. That's what I chose. This is devastating. And yeah, it's a team for NPL Season 7. This is I think this is a lot shorter than my usual ones, but that's good. Yeah, it's a team. Please tell me what you think of it. I would love to get your opinions on this draft. I'm not that fond of it. Like, it's not a bad draft. I'm gonna say, oh god, I got such a shit draft, blah blah blah. No, it's a solid draft, but I don't love it. I love these Pokemon. I feel like something is missing. I feel like it's not perfect, but you know, I definitely can make this work, and I definitely will make this work. Yeah, as I said, make sure to check out all the NPL links in the description down below. You should check out all the other coaches as well. They're all lovely people. And Merc. And yeah, it's gonna be a fun season. I will try to do my absolute best to get you guys a playoff run, because I know that's what you want to see. And maybe we can, you know, get a shot at the title. Because we can't just let Gypsy win a third one. Come on, that'd just be stupid. I know his team is like ridiculous. In case you haven't seen it, it's ridiculous. Watch the draft notes whenever that comes out. But you know, we can't just. It's getting boring, you know. But yeah, that's all I have to say. Week 1 is gonna be against none other than my very good friend Mr. Murkrow and his San Francisco Reggie Giants. He is one of my best friends. He's one of my biggest rivals, I guess, because we've played 4 times. I beat him 3, and he beat me once in the finals of the GPC, which is the one that really matters. But I dicked him in 2 other games, and the other one I just didn't get flinched because Megalop is amazing. So, or fully paralyzed. Yeah, that's pretty much that. This is gonna be a really exciting match regardless. He has spooky stuff like Mega Gardevoir, which if you look at my team is really scary. He has Zemo of Dragonite, which is really broken. He has Lucario, which beat me in GPC finals, and it's probably gonna beat me again because I hate life, and you know, history repeats itself and stuff. But yeah, that's gonna be a fun matchup for sure. Merc and I always have very interesting games, I think, at least for the viewers, if for no one else. And yeah, that's all I have. Again, check out the MP links, check out Freeze for making these beautiful graphics. And get yourself some Bayern Mewnich shirts and shit, because why fucking not? Yeah, let's do something, you know. Let's get shit done, boys. Yeah, it's gonna be it. Thank you for watching my show too. Tell me what you think of the team, because I would appreciate your input very much. And with that being said, also be a fan in the NPL Fan Server. Be my fan, please. Love me, thank you. With that being said, I want to thank you all for watching. Make sure to leave a like, leave a comment, leave some newts. I will appreciate all 3 of those, and hopefully see you guys next time. Goodbye.